Sometimes I want to have a faith in humanity, but people make it so hard sometimes. And in this case, well, people are judging the way Erika Kirk is grieving Charlie, and it seems like she's not grieving the right way. And we have so many posts like this. A grieving widow who just watched her husband get shot to death in front of her and their children 2 weeks ago, by the way, and just shares one screenshot. And that's it. Of Erika Kirk at the set of Charlie Kirk's podcast, just smiling. All right, so let's see. Let's watch the clip. Let's do something. Let's watch the clip and judge for ourselves if she's grieving the right way or not.
That still lives on. Yeah. And so what I'm getting at here is the Charlie Kirk show is not going anywhere. My husband's voice will live on. The show will go on. We will have rotating hosts, rotating casts, rotating people coming on.
We've got some great people next week.
Unbelievable. We will have consistency. The members only group will continue to go on. All of his socials that God has blessed us with, the people who follow those socials will go on. Nothing is changing. But I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird.
Cringy.
We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off. Yeah. That's not what's happening. What's happening is the team is keeping this alive because we have Charlie in each and every one of us. Yes. And it is going to be continually the North Star of the conservative movement, of the voice of the youth, of the voice of the base, and that will not end. And the members only will continue to grow, and that will be the tight-knit network of family members that supported and loved Charlie and the team. And that's what it is. It's a family and a team. And this is not going anywhere. It's just not. We need to be able to have people have a show where they can ask questions. Hey, I'm up against this. What would Charlie say? And we play a clip of what Charlie said a month ago, a year ago. We have decades worth of my husband's voice. We have unused material from speeches that he's had that no one has heard yet. We have Sunday specials lined up to the brim because my husband was so intentional about making sure that there was enough content. Always.
Yeah. He made sure we recorded everything.
Everything.
He would not do a speech unless we could get the video and the...
Well, that was very helpful. Have so much content of Charlie and be able to sort through all that content. Now with AI would be so easy to just upload it and be able to classify everything and be able to search the right clip of the actual Charlie in the flesh when he was alive talking about certain topics would be great. But you notice, because I did, it was very easy that there was so many emotions in here. And there was so, misleading to just pick one screenshot, one frame of the video or her appearance in this show and say, oh, she's not grieving the right way. But that is exactly what people are doing. Not only this account, but also this might be unpopular, that kind of way of opening a tweet. But I find it very weird how a widow has stepped into the CEO role, delivered 2 speeches, one at the stadium memorial where Charlie's parents weren't even present. Correction, they were present, but they were not making, they have always been very private. And it's already going on podcasts just 2 weeks after her husband was assassinated, instead of being home with her 2 young children who just lost their dad. So again, judgment, more judgment. That was a very brief mourning period. Wow. Okay, I guess. And this is one of the worst ones. Erika Kirk must have superhuman powers of composure because I just don't understand how your husband and the father of your children is brutally assassinated, and less than 2 weeks later, you're smiling, laughing, working, and carrying on with business as usual. I don't see a grieving widow in this clip. I see a businesswoman. Where are the 7 stages of grief? She has jumped right to acceptance. If you have ever known someone who lost the love of their life suddenly and tragically, you would know how strange all of this is. There's a lot of stuff if we go in here. Asmon Gold, another a famous streamer, lost his dad not long ago. Asmund Gold grieves the loss of his father. He hasn't streamed in almost a month. Erika, Kirk's husband, got shot in the neck 2 weeks ago, and she's smiling after taking over his company. You know how people are framing this, by the way, and there's a bit of separation in here because Asmund Gold is a single man streaming job, and TP USA is like this brutal, gigantic organization that Charlie Kirk basically built from nothing, and yeah, it has to keep running somehow with somebody at the lead. So a bit of the difference in that, but they are recollections that are very important to know about because there are many ways to grieve. There's not like a structure or a recipe to grieving. No, there's every person has their own way of grieving. Like Shashi. After my dad died, my mom, sister, and I sat on the hospital room floor sharing stories of my dad. He was still laying there in the bed, and we were sitting next to him eating Reese's Cups and taking shots of Beef Eater gin, his favorite treats, and laughing loudly enough that a nurse came in and asked us to be quiet. I love him more than I can begin to explain, and I still have moments when his absence hits me like a Mack truck. Laughter is the only thing that saves us from the soul-crushing emptiness of loss. You are a vile little human who sold their soul for clout and clicks. I couldn't agree more. Ginger, handy ginger girl. Now, I never had to live through the violent assassination of my husband. But I imagine if I did, and I had spent the last few weeks steeped in rearranging my life, consoling my children, I just might relish the relief of maybe a single hour of normalcy. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, that's being human at the same time. Caitlin Francis, blocking any and everyone I see, quote unquote, just asking questions why Erika is doing her husband's podcast today. What's she supposed to be doing? Crying in the shower? Sitting on her kitchen floor with a bottle of rum? Watching movies in bed? Get out of here with all of this is absurd. Maybe she has. Maybe Erika has done all that in private. Maybe she has. She continues, if my husband was a famous podcaster who spent every day in that chair behind that desk, I'd be there every day sitting there talking about him with his friends. Yeah, that is something that we can relate to. Even Andrew Wilson, I sometimes disagree with Andrew's takes, but well, right now, didn't take long before the Hawks began circling TP USA. Now on the warpath of attacking Kirk's widow for not grieving, quote unquote, the proper way. As if there is some precedent for how the widow of a publicly assassinated political figurehead should grieve. No, there's this is the way that you should be grieving. Catherine Boyle, this is one of my favorites. You have to listen to this. My mother became a widow just after turning 50. From the moment she handed the do not resuscitate order to the paramedics at my father's instruction, she was doing things, planning things, managing. A friend came over and told her to lie down a few hours after he died, and she said, "What are you talking about? There is a funeral to prepare." She probably made 500 calls in 48 hours, went through her entire contact list, ordered enough food for the army of people who stopped by our house and our church. As in, so many people loved her husband, she knew that she had to do this. And there has no time to lose. Order enough food for the army of people for months after. Every day, all she did was go through his things, organize everything, his pen collection, his books, meet with anyone who wanted to talk about my dad, and made sure they had a small piece of him to take with them. She became the rock for everyone around her when everyone else wanted to cry and grieve. I don't think I ever saw her cry except at the funeral. But he's been dead for 20 years and she still wears her wedding ring. He is still her husband. No one should ever judge a widow's grief. Erika Kirk has to do this kind of work. The widow's work, a difficult role you don't understand until you have witnessed it at a scale none of us can fathom. She has to tend to a nation's grief, and she's doing a beautiful job. Thank you, Catherine Boyle, for these thoughts. And yeah, more replies to this nonsense. That's because these people are reacting that way. That's because she's made it her life mission to continue Charlie Kirk's work. I know it isn't something you'd have a bit losers would understand, but to do the good work means working for a greater purpose than yourself. Instead of criticizing others, do something with your life. I agree wholeheartedly. This is Mrs. Nerdy Engineer. This was taken 9 days after my infant son died. My husband had a work event and we were asked to do a silly photo with his teammates. It was my first evening out and I was trying desperately to fake some semblance of normal. You cannot micromanage grief, your goals. Yeah, and I want to elaborate on what Roma says. She could cry on camera with no makeup and you will shred her. She could hide in her closet for a year and you'll shred her. Nothing makes you happy. You all will dive right in within minutes to celebrate the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but think a couple of weeks just isn't an appropriate amount of time for his grieving widow to smile. How dare she? How dare she smile and deny the worst thing happened to her? How dare she throw herself into work to forget about it all? And that's the truth. It's like if she appeared on that show and she began to cry on camera, like all the time, people would say that she was acting. If she is smiling and reminiscing of Charlie and all the content that there is and how Charlie's project will go on, right? And she has to lead it, then people are going to criticize her. If she stays at home and disappears from the public, people are going to criticize her for not taking the helm of Charlie Kirk's project. And if she assumes the helm, the CEO, she's taking over this as well. There's no way that you can lose, you can win with these people. There's absolutely no way. I found tweet after tweet after tweet of this, and I was wondering, are people really going insane? Are these people for real? Because my primary platform, so to speak, is here in YouTube. It's like YouTube is my actual home, so to speak. But so many of you are not on X. I asked you to follow me there, but it can be a really cesspool in there. It can be a cesspool in ways that you cannot imagine. I really needed, yesterday I did not make any videos because I needed one day off. But yes, it's something that you will never be able to win with these people. I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember that there's my merch right in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. Just the shirts, the hoodies, and some surprises out there for you as well. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Bottle Language Guy. Much love and bliss.